Okay guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. Alright guys, I'm back. It is Monday, September 7th, and it is 10:08 p.m. Eastern Time. I know I'm getting a late start, but better late than never. Hope you all had a wonderful Labor Day weekend, and I hope you are refreshed and ready to begin your week. So sit back, put your feet up, get yourself comfortable, get yourself a beverage, and sit back and enjoy the news. Alright, here we go. Now that is my cat and not yours, just so that you know. My cat regularly does that when I start to record because he's aware that I'm going to be occupied and not paying attention to him. So that is what that is. Now, I do have three people to thank. Jennifer Farquhar, I hope that's how you pronounce your name, Jennifer, and if not, I apologize. She gave a monthly donation and recurring donation, and Jeffrey Robertson, thank you very much for your donation, and Dee Smith gave a monthly donation as well. Now, if you haven't heard, and I'm not going to repeat this too many more times, so don't think that I'm going to put this at the beginning of every video, but I encourage people to switch over from Patreon because Patreon does support Black Lives Matter, and they also take a cut of what you donate to a creator. They do take a small cut of that, whereas if you donate monthly through Ko-fi, all of that money goes to the creator. So if you give $3, $3 goes to the creator, $10, $10. No matter what you give, all of it, 100% of it goes to the creator. So it's a better deal, certainly for the creator, and it's better because, well, do we really want to support businesses that support Black Lives Matter? Now, I'm going to leave my Patreon up. You don't have to switch over, but just so that you know. And anyway, thank you all who donate one way or another, or, you know, support this channel in other ways through prayer and so forth. I appreciate it very much, and it makes it possible to do what I do, because if not, I would not be able to spend the enormous amount of time that I spend doing this. So, all right, guys, let's just get right into the news. Now, this is from James Woods, and I know I've said this before. I love that man, and very, very intelligent. And also, if you are on Twitter and not following him, you're missing out on something. So, just for a heads up there. But he is responding to Biden, and Biden is responding to the Washington Post here. Now, let me preface this by saying that this is from October 25th, 2019. Now, normally I would say, well, that's outdated. It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter in this case because I'm trying to make a point with it. So the Washington Post said, none of these 195 countries, the U.S. included, is fully prepared for a pandemic, report says. Now, that is from the Washington Post. Biden responded to that on October 25th, 2019. Well before anyone knew about the pandemic. Well, I'm quite certain they knew about it in China, but they weren't letting anyone know. So Joe Biden says, we are not prepared for a pandemic. Trump has rolled back progress President Trump and I made to strengthen global health security. We need leadership that builds public trust, focuses on real threats, and mobilizes the world to stop outbreaks before they reach our shores. So how did he know back then? And James Wood asked the same question. He said, how did he know to start this mantra months in advance? Well, how did he know? I'd like to know, because that's the narrative that this pandemic was going to come out. It was going to go worldwide, and they were going to blame Trump, of course. In the U.S., they were going to blame Trump for it, all his fault. Yeah, so how did he know back in October to start that so soon? I'm just wondering. So I think that doesn't need any more commentary. I think it speaks for itself, don't you? Right, they knew. Now, this is something else I think is interesting, because this is also from October, the 9th of October, 2019. Now, this has nothing to do with the pandemic, but it is very interesting. How did they know? Now, I am not familiar with Liberty Times and politics, but I am going to check them out because I'd like to know how they knew this so far in advance. It says, from what I've heard, certain states like California are going to pump up gang activity, violence in the streets. People will be stuck in their homes on purpose. Then they will claim the president refuses to help because they are democratic states, and they will ask the UN to intervene. Well, isn't that exactly what happened? Yeah. How did they know? And it's interesting too, something else that I've been thinking about is the fact that right when these riots were ratcheting up, all of a sudden they started letting prisoners out of New York. Most of the Democratic places released prisoners, and not just prisoners that maybe had stolen something minor. These were prisoners that, involved in serious crimes, and they let them back out on the streets. Well, here's something. Apparently, they went into, they were housed, they were taken care of, and I think that is where they recruited a vast number of these people, and I think that is why it's just revolving door. These people get arrested, and then the DAs, which are crooked, let them back out on the street. They get rearrested. They go back on the street. They get rearrested and back on the street. It's just a big circle. So it looks like there is justice being served, but is there really? No. And I think these are people that were in prison previously because of some of the arrests. If you look at them, they have very long rap sheets. So yeah, that's what I think is doing, and they are doing, and I think that they planned it that way. They were letting them out not because they care if these prisoners get COVID, but because they are prime recruiting ground. Because once you get out of prison, you don't have a job, you don't have anywhere to go. And what if somebody comes and offers you, a lot of money to just protest? All you got to do is protest. Well, wouldn't you take it? And a lot of these people would as well. And they have. Now, I'm not saying all of them, but I think a good portion of the people that are in prison are the ones that are being paid to riot. That's what I think. All right. Let me move along there because I have no proof of that, but that is my opinion. And let me see, I tried to go to this and it is gone already. So from the time that I placed this on here to the time because I had started this video a little bit earlier and I realized that there was a technical difficulty. So I'm going back to re-record that first part. But just in the time since I put that link there and the time it took me to do this show, it's gone. They've ripped it down already. It was horrendous though, and I'm going to look and see if I can find it anywhere else. Anyway, let's take a look at this, because this, if you haven't seen it, will shock and disgust you. All right. Now, this is from the Gateway Pundit, and it says, F white people. BLM Biden supporters scream at elderly couple dining outdoors in Pittsburgh, steal their drinks off table. Now, I will warn you, there's a lot of bad language in this, so I'm just offering you a warning. This is from yesterday. It happened yesterday, Sunday. Now, it says, this is how Biden supporters treat elderly Americans. Black Lives Matter terrorists screamed obscenities at elderly people dining outdoors in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on Sunday. And F12 and F white people, you old dick, one Black Lives Matter militant yelled to a peaceful elderly white man sitting at a table. A woman then marched over to the couple, grabbed a drink from their table, and drank out of it. Yeah, they actually grabbed his beer and drank his beer. And let's come down here. So much for worrying about COVID-19. Other violent Biden supporters were breaking glassware and intimidating diners, and that seems to be the new MO. They are going into restaurants, they're turning over tables, they're throwing the silverware and the glassware and plates on the floor, breaking them, disturbing the diners, scaring everyone, disrupting meals, calling them names. That is what they're doing now. Why? Who the heck knows? Do you think this is helping make their point? Because it's not. I think we all can see that, but I don't think that they're smart enough to see it. But really, I guess they're just getting paid to protest. They don't know why they're protesting or what they're protesting. They're just paid to protest. So they protest. Now, let's come down here. It says watch, language warning. So you have been duly warned. And let's give this a watch. Here, let me make it bigger for you tiny phone people. You old dick, he called him. And then this woman's coming over, grabs his beer, or her beer, and drinks it. Listen to what they're saying. In the background, there's a whole group of them marching, and they're saying, no justice, no peace, burn it to the ground, and F the police. That's what they're saying. No, they're actually saying, no justice, no peace, take it to the streets, and F the police. That is what they're saying. Now, how would you like to be enjoying a nice leisurely meal and have that group in your face? Yeah, I wouldn't like it either. And I would have done like most of those diners did, get up and leave. And I feel sorry for these owners, these business owners, because people are probably fleeing without paying. Of course, hopefully some have, will come back and pay. But it's unbelievable. At least here they didn't wreck anything, but I guess that's because really there's not too much to wreck. The tables, the chairs are not, real breakable. But yeah, a lot of places they just throw everything on the floor, they break everything and disrupt everybody's meal. Now, another Black Lives Matter terrorist physically assaulted a white man walking his bike on Penn Avenue near the Standard Market and Pint House. And let me see here. And this is here. So let's look at this. I haven't seen this before, but I didn't see an assault. Unless this was it. Wasn't much of an assault, though. Oh, they're hitting him in the head. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, they're hitting him in the head, this guy with the... And then they threw something at his head. But that's very mild compared to the rest of the stuff, so... Anyway, yeah, so let's go on now. This, I don't know about you, but the more I watch this stuff, the more I get riled up. I mean, really riled up. This is so unfair, so unfair. But let's go on now. This from Tammy Bruce, and very, very interesting indeed. He is responding to this article, says the Atlantic editor concedes central claim of Trump hit piece could be wrong. Well, yeah, sure. Now say that after it's gone out and everybody's believing it and running with it. Now you say, yeah, we could have been wrong about that. That is irresponsible journalism. And, there's no way people can fact check sources because the sources are anonymous. Of course, oldest trick in the book. You can make up anything and say, well, my sources are anonymous. Yeah. So, yeah, Atlantic editor concedes central claim of Trump hit piece could be wrong. Yeah, I might be wrong. Despite conceding that the cancellation due to weather might be true, Jeffrey Goldberg stood by his story about President Trump's trip to the cemetery. So there you have it. But now they're conceding, well, we might be wrong. Yeah. All right, let's go on now. All right, says, what's the matter? Well, I can tell you a few things that are the matter. I think we all could. A friend of mine has a sign on his lawn that says Black Lives Matter. Since I grew up with him in Levittown, New York, where blacks were not allowed to purchase homes, that piqued my interest. He explained to me that justice is important to him and he believes African Americans are denied a fair shake in America. Millions of people believe that and their opinions should be respected. I see the justice issue as more about poverty than skin color at this point in history. My opinion should be respected as well. Then I asked my friend if he was aware of the philosophy behind the Black Lives Matter movement. I mean, a sign is one thing. A well thought out political plan is quite something else. Most Americans, including my boyhood chum, have no clue. Enter Alicia Garza, one of the founders of the Black Lives Matter Global Foundation and a proud Marxist. And we're not talking Groucho here. No, Alicia is a follower of Karl Marx, one of the architects of communism. She freely admits that. Ms. Garza is also an opinion contributor for USA Today, and she lays it all out there if you read between the lines. On August 30th, Alicia Garza wrote this: "We are in the midst of a black rebellion spurred by decades of unequal treatment and undue violence against our communities." You can read uprooting as overthrowing because that is exactly what the Black Lives Matter Global Foundation wants to do. The well thought out plan is to use racial disenchantment to batter the entire white power structure and eventually destroy the capitalistic system. It could work because few understand the end game, including the Democratic Party and more than a few corporations that are pumping millions of donated dollars into the Black Lives Matter movement. The smoke signals are key. The far left, including Black Lives Matter, are now demanding economic justice. That means onerous taxation on the affluent and the seizure of private property through a series of wealth taxes. Then there's housing justice. That means the government pays for sheltering low-income Americans. Education justice means free college. Worker justice means guaranteed jobs and a living wage. You get the idea. A central government run by woke activists would provide pretty much everything and would confiscate private and corporate wealth to pay for it. So that's what's in play. And again, the pro-athletes, the casual liberal folks, the corporate virtue signalers have no blanking clue. However, some in the media do understand, but will not report the truth for fear their bosses will harm them. So the next time you see a Black Lives Matter sign, please consider there is much more to this movement than words on a paper or graffiti on a wall. Marxism is now being slyly mainstreamed in America. Somebody resurrect Paul Revere. Very well written, very well spoken. So, yes, a good piece by Bill O'Reilly. And let's come back here and go to the next. Yeah, this is interesting. Says an investigation is underway after surveillance video captured bags of mail being dumped in a parking lot in the Los Angeles area. Let me guess. Republican ballots? Yeah, our elections are safe. Sure they are. Not as long as the Democrats are around. So let's take a look at this. There it is. I'm just dumping the mail. Well, they said deliver it. They didn't say deliver it where. I don't know what all this stuff is. Yeah. So, yeah. Is it any wonder we worry about the election? You know, and the Democrats look at us and poo-poo it and say, oh, that's silly. If anyone should be worried, it's us because Trump's trying to steal the election. Right. As if he would need to. All right. Now, let's go back. See what else we can get into. All right. Now, this is from yesterday, I believe. Yes. I think so anyway. Where's the date on this? Yes, it's from yesterday. Portland riot, 50 plus arrested as firebombs, rocks, and mortars thrown at police. But so what? They arrested 50 people. You know they're going to be right back on the street because the DAs aren't going to prosecute these people. So anyway, yeah. Multiple firebombs, mortars, rocks, and other objects rained down on law enforcement officers during Saturday night's street riot in Portland, Oregon, according to police. As Breitbart News reported, the rioting started just after 9 p.m. and quickly descended into violent chaos. 50 rioters were arrested in the hours that followed. At one stage, a firebomb thrown by rioters at police set a protester on fire, and I think we looked at that yesterday. Video taken at the scene and retweeted by the police shows fire erupting in the middle of a street. As a man caught in the flames attempted to run out of the way, he emerged with his legs ablaze as rioters attempted to help him. And we have seen that already, so I'm not going to take time to play that again. Officers located the injured person, and Portland Fire and Rescue medics offered treatment. The victim was taken to a hospital by private vehicle. Portland police later outlined exactly what they were facing in the line of duty. The crowd was advised over loudspeaker that it was a riot and they were to leave the area to the east immediately. They were warned that failure to adhere to this order may subject them to arrest, citation, or crowd control agents, including but not limited to tear gas and or impact weapons like beanbags and whatever. Individuals within the crowd began throwing illegal fireworks, mortars at officers. Others were seen throwing rocks. At least one had a wrist rocket type of slingshot launching unknown objects. In order to defend themselves from these assaults, officers used crowd control munitions, including tear gas. Officers made numerous targeted arrests. Officers moved ahead of the rioters to prevent them access to private property as the law evaders lit fires in the streets, including dumpsters, garbage cans, and wooden pallets. Officers moved in to push the crowd back in order to extinguish the fires, Portland police explained. A sergeant was directly struck by a commercial-grade firework which burned through his glove and injured his hand. Several officers and troopers were struck by rocks in the head, arms, shoulders, and feet. Only their protective gear prevented serious injury. An Oregon State Police vehicle was damaged by rocks, including broken windows and dents. An unexploded mortar was recovered by police. And it says in all, over 50 people were arrested, while at least 2 apprehended while wearing body armor. One had a dagger, another had a knife. Most of those arrested were arrested on suspicion of interfering with a peace officer or disorderly conduct, police said. Police said one woman who was detained was bleeding from an abrasion on her head, and she was treated by medics at the scene before being transported by an ambulance. The Portland Police Bureau said she jumped out of the ambulance and ran away before it left the scene, however. Yeah, these people, you know, they're short on common sense. As you can see by the man whose legs are on fire. Yeah, nobody seemed to know how to put it out. Anyway, excuse me. All right, well, let's go on. And let's look at, okay, I'm gonna skip these 2 for now, or this one for now, because it's a little bit out of the flow of the other one, so I'll come back to it if we have time. All right, and what is this? This is actually from Saturday, so it's a little bit older, but it says charges were dropped against man at Portland riot. He later stabbed multiple people to death, police said. Yeah. A man accused of stabbing 2 people to death in Portland in June was previously arrested during a riot in downtown Portland a week prior to the killings, but the charges were dropped when Progressive District Attorney Mike Schmidt reportedly decided not to pursue charges. Yeah. Casey Leeton, 22, and Najaf Nate Hobbs, 39, were stabbed on June 16th near Northeast Davis Street. Police arrested Philip Lawrence Nelson, 39, 2 days later. KOIN News reported Tuesday he faces 2 murder charges and is being held without bail just days before he allegedly killed Leeton and Hobbs, though. Nelson was taken into custody at a protest in downtown Portland. Court records show he was arrested on charges of interfering with a peace officer. Those charges were dismissed the next day. Journalist Andy No noted that the charges from the violent Antifa protests were dropped because the case wasn't pursued by the DA, which is the point that I'm trying to make, is that a lot of these people, they can be detained and whatever, but the DA goes, nah, let them go, because these are Democrat DAs. Breaking, Philip L. Nelson, pictured below, was arrested at a violent Antifa protest in June and quickly released without bail. His criminal charge wasn't pursued by the DA. The following week, he allegedly stabbed 2 people to death. Yeah, well, isn't that special? Now, the report from the local CBS affiliate says that investigators believe the 2 victims were murdered as part of a dispute they had with Nelson over a renting issue. Leeton and Hobbs' roommate told police that they were originally renting the unit in a 4-plex from Nelson, who claimed to be the owner of the building, according to court records, the outlet reports. When the 3 roommates found out Nelson was actually just squatting there, they changed the locks to their unit, angering Nelson, records state. Sheriffs in Oregon have cited the fact that so many rioters in Portland have had their criminal charges dropped as reason that they will not be sending any deputies to the city to quell the nightly violence as part of a plan put together by the state's governor. Oregon Democratic Governor Kate Brown said she will be asking sheriff's deputy from Clackamas and Washington County and Gresham to help Portland police gain control of the embattled city. The governor is convening a community forum on racial justice and police reform, which will include Black protest organizers and community leaders, as well as Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler. Oh, that'll work. Yeah, that'll really work. On Sunday, August 30th, I read that Governor Kate Brown announced a new plan to address the lawlessness happening in Portland. I was surprised to read that Clackamas County Sheriff's Office was part of the plan, since the governor's office never contacted me. Had Governor Brown discussed her plan with my office, I would have told her it's about changing policy, not adding resources. Increasing law enforcement resources in Portland will not solve the nightly violence and now murder. The only way to make Portland safe again is to support a policy that holds offenders accountable for their destruction and violence. That will require the DA to charge offenders appropriately, and a decision by the Multnomah County presiding judge not to allow offenders released on their own recognizance and instead require bail with conditions. The same offenders are arrested night after night, only to be released by the court and not charged with a crime by the DA's office. The next night they are back at it, endangering the lives of law enforcement and the community all over again. First of all, in law enforcement, keeping our community safe is our priority. Had Governor Brown asked me, I would have told her that no amount of human resources will stop the cycle of violence, her term, that is making Portland unsafe. For that to occur, the criminal justice system will need to do its part and hold offenders accountable. Well, of course, if there's no repercussions for their behavior, why should they stop? Right? Washington County Sheriff Pat Garrett responded. Yesterday, Governor Brown issued a statement asking local law enforcement leaders to provide personnel and resources to assist the Portland Police Bureau following Saturday's shooting death that was connected to protests. As Washington County Sheriff, I commit to supporting PPB through indirect ways like analyzing risks associated with social media, air support, assisting with specific criminal investigation, etc. At this time, I do not plan to send deputies to work directly in Portland. PPB is a terrific partner, and I am very sympathetic to what they are enduring. However, the lack of political support for public safety, the uncertain legal landscape, the current volatility combined with intense scrutiny on use of force presents an unacceptable risk if deputies troops were deployed directly. Lastly, I support the steps outlined in the joint media release by the Oregon State Sheriff's Association and the Oregon Association of Chiefs of Police, and remain committed to work with partners and community leaders toward peace and to end violence. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be sending my deputies, if I was, them, I wouldn't want to be sending my deputies out into that either, because these people are not being held accountable whatsoever. They could kill a police officer. They could, give him a very, very serious head injury. That there's all sorts of injuries that could be caused because these people don't care, and they're not being held accountable. Anyway, let's move on. And that is why, my friends, it is important that we not vote for Joe Biden, because that is what we'll get. That and more of the same and worse. All right, so let's look at this now. Yeah, and this person, Racy, said, how do people see this and not get horrified? Well, I don't know, Racy, because I saw it and I was horrified. So let's just give this a listen and prepare to be amazed. Really. Okay. I know, I'm sorry to make you look at Kamala, but hey.
I would not be standing here were it not for the education I received. So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
Oh, it's hysterical.
And I've got a little political capital, and I'm going to spend some of it. As a prosecutor in law enforcement, I have a huge stick. The school district has got a carrot. On my letterhead, now let me tell you something about my letterhead. When you're the DA of a major city in this country, usually the job comes with a badge. And there is often an artistic rendering of said badge on your stationery. So I sent a letter out.
She's so pleased with herself.
Every parent in the school district. We sent it out to everyone. A friend of mine actually called me and he said, Kamala, my wife got the letter. She freaked out. She brought all the kids into the living room, held up the letter, said, if you don't go to school, Kamala's going to put you and me in jail.
Oh, that's so funny.
She intended effect. I would not be standing here.
I'm just so enthralled by myself. I entertain myself. What is wrong with this woman? Like, really? Kamala's going to put us both in jail. This woman has serious issues. One of them is control. She wants it at all costs, and she's drunk on it. You can see she's drunk on it. Give me a break. She is a piece of work. All right, let's go back. And let's, yes, this is something good for a change, all right? Okay. Jogger detained by cops obeys orders, gets incredible surprise. Remember I said, play stupid games, win stupid prizes? Well, when you don't play games, you might actually win a good prize. Just saying. Play good games, although he wasn't playing games. Let's look at this. A man in Florida who was briefly detained by police last week after he matched a suspect description has been offered a job as a sheriff's deputy after the encounter went viral online. Joseph Griffin was jogging in a Deltona neighborhood when he was stopped by deputies of the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. Griffin, who is a bearded black former military police officer and a registered nurse, was wearing a white tank top and dark shorts, WSAV-TV reported. Unfortunately for the man, he fit the description of another man police were seeking in the area who was wanted in connection to a burglary. Griffin decided to broadcast the encounter on Facebook. Just bear with me because you fit the description, a deputy who spoke with Griffin said on the video stream. I'm not saying you're guilty, but my sergeant is telling me to detain you, the deputy added. Griffin remained calm but appeared nervous while handcuffed. As he and the officer spoke, a deputy told Griffin his handcuffs would come off as easily as they go on. Just think of it. If it was your home, we'd be doing the same, the deputy who was detaining Griffin told him. You literally fit the description like 99%. Commenting on the sudden police presence, Griffin said, "It's just a lot going on today," in an apparent reference to nationwide civil unrest and a narrative that police officers are biased against minority Americans. Griffin was cleared to go after a few more minutes, and the officers thanked him for being understanding of the situation. Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood praised Griffin and his deputies. The deputies did an outstanding job given the limited information they had about a call in progress, he said. Likewise, Mr. Griffin was calm and cooperative, even though he had reason to be frustrated with the inconvenience, the sheriff added. WSAV reported that deputies were eventually able to arrest a suspect in the burglary case, but with the roadside detention came a job offer for Griffin. Mr. Griffin is a military veteran and a medical professional, and I told him we'd train and hire him as a deputy in a second if he ever wants a new job, Chitwood said. Everyone involved in this deserves recognition for a job well done, he added. While Griffin did say he was scared during the encounter, well, who wouldn't be, with police and upset at being stopped, he did praise how the situation played out during an interview with the West Volusia Beacon. I don't want this to be a bashing of the sheriff's office. I want it to be an enlightening thing. Anyone can be profiled, Griffin told the outlet. The cop wasn't too bad. They did some things right. On the law enforcement compliance side, it's a good example of how to handle yourself. If I wasn't calm and respectful, it could have turned into something different, he said. There are multiple instances of the same thing that ends up with someone going to jail, getting a felony for assault because they fight back. Griffin also said he would have liked to have seen the deputy who detained him wear a mask amid the coronavirus pandemic. There is no word yet from Griffin, the sheriff's office, or the local media as to whether the man has taken police up on the job offer. Now, that really shows you that when you're cooperative, just, the matter was cleared up very quickly, and the police told him, look, you know what, those handcuffs can go off just as easily as they went on. Now, I don't blame the police. If he fit the description, 99% of the man that was burglarizing a home in the area, then, they had to detain him and question him. But if he had reacted violently or whatever, it could have turned out very differently. So this was well handled on both sides, I think, and it deserves a look. Now, let's take a look at this. He was jogging, just out jogging. And he's recording himself, probably for his own protection.
If you fit the description, I'm not saying you're guilty.
I know.
My sergeant told me to detain you. That's my sergeant.
I got you. I just had a daughter born 2 days ago, so I just have this on live.
It's live?
No.
Again, buddy, you're not under arrest.
Oh gosh, this is actually quite long here, so let me just see. Well, let's go through to the end there.
Again, he's gonna run it through. Make sure it's not you. And from what it looked like, buddy, you'll be out of here, okay? All right.
Okay, can one of y'all tell my girl to come pick me up off of Normandy, please? I know she got the baby at the home. Tell her to have her mom come pick me up or something. I don't want to stress you out too
Can I
much.
put it to some
Yes.
But notice how calm obviously he's worried. I would be too, but he's calm. He's not arguing with them. He's being respectful. He's answering their questions, and it has a good ending. They even offered him a job. So it just goes to show you that a lot of these things don't have to end up the way they end up. Now, I'm going to, because it was 12, almost 13 minutes long. So, and it's out there on the internet everywhere. So if you want to see it, there's plenty of places you can do that. But I don't want to take that much time tonight. And let's go back here because there is another, I think I'm going to leave this about the China for another night. I'm going to group it with some other China stories for you. But I'm going to go on here and let's look at this. And then I have a very good feel-good story for you to end on this holiday Monday. All right. Joe Biden makes the patently absurd and false claim fast food restaurants make workers sign non-compete contracts. Well, this is from today. It's hot and fresh. It was at 3:07 p.m., so it's pretty fresh. But, yeah, just when you think that, well, no, I was going to say, just when you think he's sane, no, I've never thought that. In an almost unbelievable moment, if you didn't see and hear it with your own eyes and ears, a Democratic Party nominee for president, Joe Biden, made the absurd and bizarre claim that minimum wage fast food workers are being forced to sign non-compete agreements because they are not represented by a union. Okay. He even claimed that workers could not quit their job at McDonald's and go work at Burger King because of these non-compete agreements. What is he smoking? Well, all of a sudden they found out you had thousands of employees making an hourly wage having to sign non-compete agreements, Biden said. So if you worked at Burger King, you had to sign a non-compete agreement. You would not go across the town to McDonald's to try and get 5 more cents in your hourly wage, he said, all designed to do nothing but keep wages down. Yeah. It's not like you had a secret that was consequential and you couldn't give away that secret because it's a high-tech industry to another industry you work for. These are people making an hourly wage, just doing just their job. And they were told they could not even bargain for themselves, let alone have a union do it. Right, Joe Biden. Yeah, we all believe that, don't we? No, nobody believes that. Joe Biden clearly needs to have his head examined. His brain has quite obviously turned to Jell-O. Yeah, I don't even think there's Jell-O in there, really. I think it's just echo, 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 echo. Okay, well, let's listen to old Joe Biden.
Well, all of a sudden they found out you had
Tell us, Joe.
thousands of employees making an hourly wage having to sign non-compete agreements.
Tell me it's not
So if you worked at Burger King, you have to sign a non-compete agreement. You would not go across town to McDonald's.
Tell me it's not
5 more
so.
cents in your hourly wage.
Please
All
tell me it's
designed
not
to do nothing,
so.
Just to keep wages down.
Yes, that's what it's
could
all
not
designed
go.
to
It's
do.
not like you had a secret that was consequential and you couldn't give away that secret because it's a high-tech industry to another industry you go to work for. These are people making an hourly wage, just doing just their job. And they were told they couldn't even bargain for themselves, let alone have a union do it.
That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. The man's not well. Jell-O, he'd be lucky to have Jell-O in his head. All right, now, as promised, here is that feel-good story. Let me see how far we've gone tonight because it feels like time has just slipped by very, very quickly. And we're only at 44 minutes, but that's it for tonight because, it's a holiday and news is limited. So let's go to the feel-good story of the night. Now, if this doesn't make you feel good, your feeler's broken. All right, maybe not, but I think it'll make you feel good. Video, rescue dog adopts kittens after losing her own litter of puppies. Aw, everybody say it together. Aw, I know. It makes me tear up. I love animals. A rescue dog in Phoenix, Arizona, who recently lost her own litter of pups, is giving all her attention to 3 motherless kittens. Staffers at Sunshine Dog Rescue are caring for an Australian Shepherd mix whose 3 puppies died after she went into premature labor last month, according to People. Going into premature labor gave her babies no chance of living outside her womb. While my heart hurts for the puppies that never got to run and play, my heart is so sad for Georgia. She is looking for her babies, and it's heartbreaking to watch, the rescue said in a Facebook post on August 13th. However, when Sunshine took in 3 newborn kittens just days later, the grieving canine made them her own. She loves them. So far, we've been able to get one to latch and are bottle feeding until the other 2 figure it out too, the rescue said. Sadly, one of the kittens died, but Georgia remained focused on the healthy ones, and the rescue added another kitten named Goober to the little family. They have all opened their eyes, are gaining weight, now weigh 7 to 8 ounces each, and seem very content with Mama. An August 20th update read, Sunshine shared a video of Georgia with her fur babies on its Facebook page Tuesday. Now, let's look at this. Oh, look. They're even nursing from her. They're going to grow up thinking they're dogs. Look at how gentle she is with them. Oh. 3 of them feeding from her. Now, you gotta admit, that's a nice story. I don't care what anybody says. So that's your feel-good story of the night. And you know, with all this that's going on, I'm going to try and look for more stories like this because, you know, it's not good for any of us to get a steady diet of bad news. So I am going to look for more stories like this to bring because I think that it's positive and I think it reminds us of what's important in life and the good things in life. So thank you guys so much for listening on this holiday Monday. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the evening, which is only an hour and 5 minutes until it's the start of a brand new day. So anyway, you guys sleep well, stay safe, and come back and visit. Yeah, seek truth with me. We kind of have fun doing it most of the time. So thank you guys so much, and keep seeking truth. Good night, guys.